Shabbat Shalom, awesome tribes of Israel. This is Rabbi Simon from the East. Rabbi Simon Al-Tafaq Kohen. Today our lecture is going to be on, of course, the Pasha's Lech Lecha. And before we do that, we're going to just do our weekly joke. A woman on a train walked up to a man across the table and said, "Excuse me." She said, "But are you Jewish?" "No," replied the man. A few minutes later, the woman returned. "Excuse me," she said again. "Are you sure you're not Jewish?" "I am sure," said the man. But the woman was not convinced, and a few minutes later, she approached him a third time. "Are you absolutely sure you're not Jewish?" she asked. All right, the man said. "You win, I'm Jewish." "That's funny," said the woman. "You don't look Jewish." So the Pasha that we're going to do is Lech Lecha, which is from Bereshit chapters 12, Genesis chapters 12. But before we go there, where we have the story of Abraham, who has to make a decision to follow God's voice and leave his family behind, leave his kinship, where he's practically born, where he's brought up, where he has his business, job, house, everything to move forward in life. Before we do that, I wanted to give you a testimony of what's been happening here. As I am in the East still, and I don't intend to return this month. Maybe my return might be my return is actually marked for next year, but if it does occur any earlier, it may not occur till possibly late January or early February. But nevertheless, I wanted to give you a testimony to give you witness of the wonderful things that have been happening over here. I guess, God is working through me and reaching people. And I had an incident where a widow was in debt. And it turned out that the widow was in debt to a person who was in debt to me, who owed me money. So what I did, I went to the widow and I sat with her and I said, well, I found out how much debt she had, and the person who owed the money to me actually owed me a lot more than that. So I said, your debt is cancelled. So I went to the other person and I said, you owe me such and such amount. The widow owes you such and such amount. That debt is no longer, that will no longer be paid to you. That money who you owe me is going to be taken from there and is cancelled. Now, the woman who was the widow, from what I had heard, was having sleepless nights, and she was having a lot of tension because the other woman was demanding the money from her, and this widow didn't have the money to pay. So she went to the bank and the bank refused to give her a loan. And then she was absolutely, in disarray, upset, couldn't do the money. And so I learned through events that she was in great need and there was nobody there to help her. So I decided to intervene and assist her. Now, what happened subsequently, that the woman who owed me the money, at the time, I just sent her a message on her phone. So she came to the city I was in later, and she went to the woman who was a widow demanding money from her. And then I found out that this woman has been demanding money from the debt that I've forgiven. So I confronted this woman and I told her that what I have told you is that you no longer can receive your money from her because you owe me such and such amount. So you have no right to go to this widow and demand your money back. And I had the widow present before me and the other woman, and I told them both, I said to them, what I have told you is the word of God. When I have said it, it will be so, so it will be so. You will not challenge my decision, and you will not say to this woman, give me the money, and she is not going to have sleepless nights over it. So I said to the woman, first woman, I said, you owe me a debt. And this woman that you're demanding money from is much poorer. She has no means to bring your money from a bank. Don't you have any thoughts about this person's well-being, about her being so lowly, whilst you have businesses? She has no business. She has no business. Her sons can't find a job, and you're telling me that she must pay you. I said, what kind of a heart do you have? Isn't it heartless for you to demand money from this person whilst she's struggling to make ends meet with her children? So, this other woman came out with all sorts of stupid excuses so that she somehow, didn't have to pay me. And she told me that, she would take the money from her, pay me. I said, no, you will not do no such thing. You owe me money, and this other money that you owe, that this woman owes you, is cancelled, and that's how it's going to remain. So I told her, unless you do this, I'm going to come to your house, and I'm going to possess your, she has a cab, and I told her that I'm going to come and possess your cab, and I'm going to sell it in the market, and I'm going to still pay that woman the money I told you that she needs to have from you. So I said, on top of that, I actually made her a debtor to the widow. So I said, on top of that, the second part of the money you owe me, you now owe that money to the widow. How are you going to pay? Do you want to pay monthlies, or do you want to pay the lump sum? She goes, no, I'd rather pay monthlies. She said, no, I'd rather pay a lump sum. I said, when? She said, soon. I said, soon is not an answer. I need a date. When does that payment come? And then she was struggling to give me a date. So she was trying to connive and, do all the necessaries and pretend to be pious. First she's giving me all the stories about her piousness, how pious she is, and how, she's been getting dreams from Jesus and all that. And then when it came to the woman's money, the widow's money, there was no piousness in her speech. She was actually not very humble. And so I told her, I said, well, there's two ways about this. Either I'm going to possess the cab that you have and I'm going to sell it, or you can keep your respect in the family. I won't do that, but you will not demand any money from this widow. On top, the money you owe me, you will pay half of that to the widow. So now you are debtor to the widow. So it was a funny kind of story, but it was one that probably hasn't ended yet. It probably will have a few more, things going on. But I thought it would be of interest for me to tell you this as a testimony that what kind of people sometimes we have to deal with. And it is very important to understand that people borrow money, then they don't want to pay it back. And I mean that people that we generally lend to, sometimes they take money from you, then they don't want to pay it back, and they look for all sorts of excuses and reasons not to pay it back or to try to delay you, in which case be very wary and be very careful of who you give your money to, because you may not see it again. It's happened to me a few times, it's happened to Rabbi Kefa a few times, but we learned a good lesson that we have to be mindful that we have families, and we have to, any monies that you have, you should be using for your family. And this is an advice that you need to heed as well. We are Torah keepers. We, obey the laws of the God of Israel. And I told that woman who was here today, I said, look, today I do not speak to you as a man who lent you the money. Today I speak to you as a Kohen in the gate. You don't believe me? Or if you're gonna have a hard time accepting my judgment, I said, I will do such a thing that I will destroy your business in a second. I said, you decide if you want your business destroyed, because you're standing in the way of the God of Israel now, and I will do that. So I said, you decide if you want to pay this widow, you want to remove this debt from this widow and walk your way in peace, or I can do the next. It reminded me of the President Trump, our president in America, when he was confronted with Turkey. He said to Turkey, either you can do a deal with the Kurds, let them walk, let them get out of harm's way, or I will destroy your economy. So, he told him to do the right thing. It reminded me of that time, that sometimes you have to take difficult decisions in order to protect certain people. And all I was trying to do in this instance was trying to protect the widow, her dignity, her right to have, peace in her life and to get on with her life and not be worried about an amount of debt that she was not able to pay back. It reminded me of the time when Jesus also gave the story in the Bible. So this reminded me of the parable of the unjust steward, where Jesus said to his disciples, there was a certain rich man who had a steward, and an accusation was brought to him that this man was wasting his goods. So he called him and said to him, what is this I hear about you? Give an account of your stewardship, for you can no longer be a steward. Then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my master is taking the stewardship away from me. I cannot dig, I'm ashamed to beg. I have resolved what to do, that when I'm put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. So he called every one of his master's debtors to him, and said to the first, how much do you owe me? Oh, my master. And he said, 100 measures of oil. So he said to him, take your bill and sit down quickly and write 50. Then he said to another, and how much do you owe? So he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said to him, take your bill and write 80. So the master commended the unjust steward, because he had dealt shrewdly, for the sons of this world are more shrewd in their generation than the sons of light. So in other words, this story kind of paralleled the story here in the real life of these two families, where one family was a debtor to me and the other family was a debtor to the other family. Now, the first family, being unjust, did not want it to clear the debt of the widow's family, and so hence I had to act to protect the rights of the widow and protect her children, for the sake of the kingdom, for the sake of the word of God, and for the sake of the law that we follow. And I told her, I said that you're not going to be fighting me, you're going to be fighting the God of Israel. Decide carefully what you want to do. So we'll see where this matter ends, but so far I put that matter to rest. And with that in mind, it's very important, as I said to you, is that you always, when you go to do your necessaries, you always look out for your family first. And we are particularly commanded in the Bible that we should look out for widows and look out for orphans. Of course, I'm talking about genuine ones, not the fake ones out of Africa. So, there's a lot of fakery going on in Africa and in the East sometimes, where there are people who claim to be widows, and we dealt with those in the past, and orphans, and they are neither the case. So, that is that basically. Now, we see in chapter 12, Abraham is asked to leave his country. It says in verse 1, chapter 12 of Genesis, now Yahweh had said to Abram, get out of your country, from your native country, and from your Abbas Ba'it, to a land that I will show you. And I will make you a strong and mighty nation, and I will make you a benefit to others, and make your name great. You shall be an increase to all who embrace you. I will bless those who come to bless you, and I will curse him who despises you and sees you as worthless. And in you all the mishpachat, the families of the earth, shall be engrafted. Or your Bibles might say blessed. So this is very important, that Abraham was put in a juncture in that he had to make a decision to leave his present home and immigrate to another country, that being Israel at the time. And he was living in southeast Turkey, where he was born. And from southeast Turkey, he had homes in Ur of the Khasdim, or what might also be known, the place might also be known as modern day Iraq today. And having said that, sometimes we may also be faced with a similar situation and similar decisions where we decide to leave our home to go to another house, in this case, or another country. In this case, this decree, this command came from God Himself, who wanted to take Abraham. And I made a similar decision about 5 years ago to leave England and go to America, when God, through a dream, instructed me that I had to go and leave England. And I did. Left England at the time. Now that reminded me of another testimony that I had, which I thought may be of interest to you. The family that I'm staying with over here, there is a lady here, and one morning she got up and she said, I heard two words in a dream, or I would say not even a dream. She said she heard two words in her ear, clearly. And she said, she gave me the two words, and she did not understand the meaning. And those two words were Hebrew words. And of course, she does not speak Hebrew over here. So I told her, I said that the words that you have given me are Hebrew words, and those words actually are instructing you that prepare, that you're going to go overseas, and that God is going to bring something hidden to you in the near future. Essentially, she is going to go overseas to another country. And I told her, just beware, that is what you heard. And I left her to mull on that, because that's exactly what she was told. And I said, well, when your time comes, God will show you what to do next. When that time is near, God will open up to you the avenue through which you will travel. Now, it's very important to understand that we have in the Bible that God has said that if you will bless God's people, we're talking about Israel, Bnei Israel, children of Israel, who are today commonly known as the Jews, that it says that if you will bless the children of Israel, that I will bless you. If you despise them, then I will despise you. If you curse them, I will curse you. So it's very important. We already know this as a fact, that we as a family of children of Israel, we of course, will look out for each other. We may pray for each other. We may lift up each other. We may encourage each other. And, generally speaking, we collectively as a community of people, we want to see each other in a good position. But there are other people out there who may not be very happy with you being in a good position, or being in a state where you are happy and they feel that they are not so in that state, and maybe they are not as happy as you are. Or there may be jealousy. Or there may be jealousy because they are not the house of Israel. Anybody can become partakers of the house of Israel. There is no restriction. Even a person who is born outside the land of Israel, who is born into a Gentile family, is able to enter the house of Israel spiritually today without a problem. And they can be partakers of the same blessings, including the same laws that we are bound to. They can also be partakers of those as well. And talking about the law, as you know that we are working behind the scenes to make some copper plates with penning the 10 Commandments on there, and also we are doing some other stuff where we're going to put Psalm 23 on there, and 72 names of God, the 42 names of God, and there may be another couple of other items that are pending in the list. So there's been in this country there's been a lot of or at least there's been some disruption with marches, people doing marches and businesses being stopped. And now we had today is a day that the Muslims celebrate the birth date of their Prophet Muhammad, and so everything is shut down. So we are I'm still awaiting the final proofs, printouts of the samples, so then I can make a decision to produce these or have these copper plates produced that we can put up in our homes. They are beautiful. I mean, I really like them, what I've seen so far. They're really beautiful, and they look absolutely eloquent and exquisite. They look really good, and it's absolutely appropriate that it's engraved just as God has instructed us in Deuteronomy 6 to engrave this on our doorposts. This is just absolutely fantastic that we are able to even do this today and put this on our doorposts and on our walls, and etc., etc. So this is really good. So with that, with that in mind, coming back to there has been my students, who write into me or who talk to me. Of course, I'm not available in America right now to speak to on the phone, but people do still write in email, and I would encourage you to write in email. And if you have any issues, concerns, or any particular directions that you're taking and you wish to know, I would highly encourage you to let me know through email, and I can give you any guidance, instructions as to what direction that you should be taking, so that you're always in line with God and you're always in line with our Torah and our holy laws, because it is our holy laws that will put us ahead, that will lift us up, and that will keep us ahead. It's practically the laws that we have in our scriptures are what dictate where we are, what places we have, etc. Because without laws, a nation is just lawless. And so our laws are not just laws; they are methods and means of living. And it's absolutely essential to understand that. In Deuteronomy 28 we are told, "And it shall come to pass, if you shall listen carefully to the voice of Yahweh your power, to guard and to do all His commandments, which I command you this day, that Yahweh your power will elevate you high above all nations of the world." I think that we need to keep this central focus, that God is willing and God is able to bless us tremendously, provided we just heed His voice. And God doesn't speak to everybody directly. He doesn't have a speaker in the wall where He will send His voice through to you. I mean, most times, God will use people to speak to you. In this case, it may be me, a Kohen, who will speak to you. It may be another person as well. And sometimes you may get a dream, sometimes you may get a vision. Now, these are important things. This is how God will speak to us today in 2019. So, we are fast approaching the end of the year, but also we are approaching Thanksgiving, which is, I believe, the Thursday, I believe? The Thursday of the third week in November. And sadly this year, I'm going to miss my turkey because I'm not in America to enjoy Thanksgiving. But nevertheless, as we're approaching Thanksgiving, I wish all of you who sit with your families to enjoy and give thanks to the God of Israel for the food, for the blessings, and for the wonderful things that you're experiencing there. Because I can tell you this much, that even having water, regular water through the tap, faucet, is an amazing modern day miracle. And then, on top of that, receiving warm hot water is what a tremendous blessing. We take these things for so much granted in the West, where we have hot water, cold water running in our faucets, and we just use it like, we don't even think about it. And we get up in the morning, we go out to our bathrooms, and we use the shower and the water to wash, to shave, to bathe, and we never even consider that these are luxury items. In the East, some homes don't even have running water, and those that do, water, hot water over here is a luxury. So these are the things that are kind of interesting. I had to have a heater fitted in this house that I'm staying in. I had to have a heater fitted to get hot water. There was no hot water here. Every morning you'd have to take a shower with cold water. And I tell you, so having a hot water was a real blessing, because now winter is upon us here, and the water in this area can become very cold. And not just now, it can be colder in the summer as well. So because there's a river nearby, and the water comes out of there fresh and it's cold. So it's very easy to acquire like a flu or cold symptoms or fever. Obviously, if you're not used to bathing with cold water, you can easily catch cold and be under the weather. So, Baruch Hashem Yahweh, I was so glad that I had to use cold water before, and I did, and I had to get used to it. Over here it is rather cold, but once I started to have the hot water, I thought, my goodness, Baruch Hashem Yahweh, what a wonderful blessing that we have a mix. We have an option of both hot and cold. Running water in the house, obviously, there's running water here. And I was saying that, these are things that we just take for granted abroad in the West. We don't even think twice about them. They're so readily available in every home that, maybe some of us, I'm not saying that we all do it deliberately. Maybe some of us don't even give thanks to God for these things. But I think we should always be appreciative, and we should always give thanks for these things, that God may be blessed, and that you also may be blessed. So I'm reminding you that when you enter your shower this next morning, when you enter your shower, give thanks to God for the hot water that you're showering with, because that's a true blessing that you have. Give thanks to God when you have running tap water in your houses, and constantly running. Here in the East, there's load shedding. Gas stops. They have load shedding of gas. They have load shedding of electric, and they have load shedding of water as well. So when the electric stops, water can also stop. So two things can happen at the same time. So likewise, this is a developing country. Pakistan is a developing country, and there's still work to be done over here. But this is where we are presently. So Baruch Hashem Yahweh for that. Now, coming to our, it's to me, and I'll be honest with you, if all you're gonna do is have a religious belief and just a religion, then your life is not gonna go anywhere from A to B, because all you have is a dead set of rules and regulations, religious laws that have no meaning. This is why I said earlier that the laws that we have in the Torah are not laws per se as rules of do's and don'ts. They actually are spiritual. They have spirituality behind them, and there is actually a blessing in them that is available to us when we perform them. So for us is a way of life. When we do the Sabbath, we don't treat the Sabbath as a law. We know that the Sabbath is a holy day. It's a special day that God uses to bless us. So it's a very, very spiritual day. So hence why we take it differently rather than just a set of laws. Now, I wanted to explain I think I spoke about it in my last lecture, that it's very important to understand that God created the world with the Hebrew letters. But how was the world created? So another thing I'm going to add, that the world was created through sounds. So God spoke the Hebrew letters, and through those sounds the world was created. And that is very important element to understand. Now, I'm pretty sure that some of you, if not all of you, some of you are going to be, writing your affirmations daily, and you're going to be speaking your affirmations. Hence why, this is where sounds comes in. Sounds comes in when you speak. So, not only to read and, not only to write and read, but also to speak. Speak the sound. Now, you will face the direction of your success. All of us have date of birth. So you will speak in the direction of your success, so that you may then be able to produce the effect and the result that you desire in your life. So this is why it's very important to understand that each of the birth dates that you have are imperative and will be used as such in your daily goals, desires, and so on and so forth. So here I'm going to speak about sounds now, and because it is very important, we are now moving into the advanced stages of manifestation and the advanced use of sounds. This is why it's imperative to understand what I'm about to say. There are primordial sounds. There are sounds that were used to create the world, and I'm going to give you a sound today that you can incorporate into your daily chant. You can record this sound. You can then play it back to yourself, because what this sound does is it will trigger the parts of your brain that need to be activated. And once it triggers the parts of your brain that need to be activated, those centers will light up. They will light up and they will become activated, and they will make your manifestations and desires come through faster. You see, on the mainstream LOA front, the law of attraction front, a lot of these teachers, well-meaning teachers, and I don't know because I've never heard it through any of these teachings. They're all over the internet, sporadic, different teachers, different ideas. But no one ever spoke about sound. Have you ever noticed that? None of these teachers, if you ever listen to any of their teachings, they never talk about sound. I mean, the famous teachers out there that are there in the circuit. I mean, teachers like Esther and Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer, then there's Bob Proctor, and there's others. There's loads of other names out there. So just to give you a brief, that none of them ever wrote in any of their books, and I've read some of their books. I heard some of their speeches and seen some of their lectures online. None of them actually ever speak about sound. And this is where I believe is a fundamental mistakes that are being made, and people do not get what they desire because they do not incorporate sound. And sound is what creates the universe. Sound is very, very important. Hence why I'm going to introduce this concept which is related to sound. And without sound, you're going to find limited success at best. And this is the reason why, because you're going to find some things are hit, some things are missed. But I already given you another advanced technique last week or 2 weeks ago, which was listening, creating lists in the morning, and reading them out loud morning and evening. But today I'm going to give you a sound. I want you to record this sound in your own voice, and I want you to listen to it in the morning and the evening. Even if you only have 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, this will be perfect, because I'm going to now give you a secret of the name of God. This is something that majority of the world out there, you could call it Messianic world, Christian world, whatever title you want to give them, they have no clue about these things. You have these law of attraction teachers out there who are leading you down this path of vibration, and they claim that you got to have a certain vibration, and you got to vibrate a certain way, a certain frequency, and then you got to do this and you got to do that, and it'll increase your vibration. Basically, let me tell you frankly, all that is BS. None of that is actually verifiably true. However, it may help in some directions, but it's actually not true, because this is why people who are stuck with the LOA bandwagon, they never get, they're at it for maybe 10 years and they don't break through their goals and desires. But now what I'm going to introduce to you, you're going to do this with what I've taught you earlier, and you're going to break straight through, because I taught you what I taught you last week. It's very important that you follow that lecture and you listen to it 2, 3, 4 times, even 10 times if you have to listen to it. Establish the concept of logic. You must kill your logic. You must remove that, because that is a limiting factor. Every time you try using logic, you're going to limit yourself and you're going to kill your desire right there. Now, the second thing, sound. How do we incorporate the sound? What is the primordial sound? And how do we incorporate the name of God in this equation? The name of God, the first two characters, Yud and He, they are related to light. As I've spoken about it before, probably last year, I spoke about God's name. The Yud, the Yod, as I call it, the Yod, I call it the Yud. The Yud is actually a concept of light. And it is very important that we understand that particular character. In our ancient pictographic Hebrew, if you remember, the whole Hebrew letters, the picture, or the subsequent letters actually refers to an eye. And the eye is related to light. So the letter Yod, or the Yud letter in the Hebrew, means light over the universes. And we must understand that is also related to sound. Now, how do we incorporate this, the name of God, in our daily affirmations and meditations? And how do we incorporate it into our chant? So, here is a primordial sound with the name of God. Ya, Ya, Ya. This is the primordial sound from the first two characters of Yahweh's name. Now, in the ancient times, we incorporated the name, as I probably have written elsewhere, maybe in my book somewhere or maybe in my lectures, that we incorporated in the three-way format in the temple services annually. We incorporated in the three-way, and this is put in the book of Numbers chapter 6, where it speaks about the Aaronic blessing. And the Aaronic blessing was recited with the three format of Yahweh's name. Yahweh, Yahovah, Yahweh. So this is the sound that was incorporated into that particular blessing. But the part that we need, and this is the part that you're going to be recording, is the first part I gave you of the Yud and the He character, which is Yah, Yah. And you're going to record this. And you're going to record this, even a minute recording of this. You're going to then put it into your audio, into your telephones, devices, or MP3 players. And you can listen to this for 5 minutes. That particular sound only. You want to listen to it for 5 minutes. This is your lesson for this week. Now this is your practice exercise. I want you to go away and I want you to record this in your own voice. Or you can, if you want to take my voice, you can take my voice from here, cut, just to record that bit that I speak. And then you're going to just loop that. You're going to loop that and you're going to listen to it for 5 minutes every day. And then I will give you the second part of this next week. Hopefully, I'll give you the second portion to this. But this is an advanced technique. This is where God's name is now going to be incorporated. The sound itself, which will activate the parts of your brain that are going to bring in the manifestations faster. So forget about this alignment of frequency and this and that and the third. Forget about all of that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to align our brain, and we're going to make a connection with God using His name, and we're going to connect into the universe, and we're going to bring in those manifestations, those desires that you have, whether the desire is for a house, a car, a relationship, doesn't matter what it is, business, everything is possible. Now tell yourself, everything is possible, nothing is impossible in this world. But the foremost thing I want you to remember is kill your logic. Stop the logic right here, kill it. Because logic and time, these are the two concepts that prevent you from receiving success. So those are the two concepts you need to remove. You need to bring yourself into eternity. Meaning, your thought process should be, there is no time around me. I am in eternity. I am able to create these things, and I'm able to bring them forward into my reality. And those things will happen as soon as you remove the concept of time and logic. You know, logic might say, hey, I'm only doing a $10 job an hour. How am I gonna make $1 million business? That's logic. So you kill the logic. Don't need the logic. Forget about it. Then you start working on what I taught you, and you will see that how fast the results will come into your life, because now you remove the concept of time. Time is immaterial. Time is what prevents people from success, because it becomes a stumbling block. And so you're going to remove the concept of time as well. So you're going to tell yourself, as part of your affirmation, you're going to say this, time is an illusion. You're going to tell yourself that, write it down, time is an illusion. Because time really is an illusion. And you're also going to say, time is an illusion. Because time is really an illusion. Because you're now working from the angle of eternity, where there's no time. And you're going to tell yourself that you have the potential for infinite possibilities. So you're going to tell yourself, I have the potential, or you can say, I am the potential for infinite possibilities. I am the potential for infinite possibilities. Time is an illusion. Logic is a block. Logic is a block. Time is an illusion. I am the potential for infinite possibilities. And then you're going to be listening to that sound I gave you, the primordial sound within the name of God that we have, and now you're going to start putting things together. As you start putting things together, what I want from you is dedication for your own personal life. Because if you are dedicated to improving your life, then you will see that if you start putting this to practice daily, 5 minutes of listening to the sound, and if you can listen to it more, great. And then after that, you write down your affirmations, you read them out, the listing, and then you're going to see that you're going to become a powerhouse that's going to bring in anything. Anything is possible for you after that. But within, of course, then you're going to have to remove logic. Logic says, hey, you're only on $10 an hour. How can you make 20? How can you make $50 an hour? How can you make $100 an hour? That's what logic says. And you remove logic. You kill the logic. And when you kill the logic, then you do not worry about that side. Your brain is no longer limiting. Your brain no longer has a limiting belief. So we are removing the limiting belief, and we're reprogramming your brain to connect in to the vast array, the God within, into eternity. And we're taking you now from an eternal perspective. And so then next week, hopefully, I will talk about your scripting a little bit. I'll talk about your revising, and I will probably go over these concepts again so that they become fully fundamentally ingrained in your mind, and you know how to use them. So with that, I'm going to thank you for listening, and until next time, have a great Shabbat, people in North America, and the people outside. You're probably already going to be starting your new week, so have a great new week ahead. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom to you.
And let's start the recording. Okay, recording is started. Okay, y'all. As you all heard the lecture from our Kohen, who's in travels. He's in the East. He's in Pakistan right now, doing his necessaries and taking care of his desires, wants, dreams, visions, Baruch Hashem. just like we all are. Okay, so based on what Hakohen said in his lecture, what did you glean from his lecture? What's your takeaway? Remember we talked about takeaway? What did you take away from his lecture, his instruction that was given today with the Kohen, the son of Aaron, Baruch Hashem? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome all, family. Welcome on. If anybody's new, please acknowledge yourself, and we'd like to welcome you as well. Oliver says the importance of sound. Indeed, Oliver, the importance of sound. But again, anybody else? Because I'd like to add to what Oliver said as well. The importance of sound, but the right sound. You know what I mean? We all make sounds, correct? Every day, you and I are making sound. But are our sounds productive? You know what I mean? Are they productive? Do we make productive sounds? Are our sounds enhancing our lives for the good? Because, again, you open your mouth and you're either doing one or two things. You're either uplifting or you're tearing down. How many of you agree with me? Eddie says to be ready like Abraham to face predicaments and to face the unknown and take action. Oh, indeed. We're going to go into that in a minute as we open up Lech Lecha, the Parsha, that we're going to kind of open up a little bit and look at and examine our patriarchs, our forefathers here in this case, and our matriarchs as well, because they both play a role here. Devorah says, the Most High makes all things possible for my good, and I'm increased daily. Oh, indeed, you are, Devorah, because you say you are. You am increased. I am increased, and you will be. You see? Because sometimes we get it confused. We are seeking God's will, but God is asking us, what is our will? How many of you at one time or another, that was your mainstay, is I want to know the will of God for my life? How many of you at that one time in your life ask yourself that question? I know I have. I want to know God's will for my life. I want to know. And do you know the whole time, you know what God was saying, the creator of the heavens and the universes and this earth, by the way? You know, he's saying the creator to breathe into your nostrils. He's like, well, what do you want? What do you want? You see? So God is answering our question with a question for ourselves. It's like, okay, well, what do you want? What are your desires? What are your wants? Because when his creation is happy, believe me, God is happy. I'm telling you, I look at my newborn son, Nakshan. When Nakshan smiles, guess what I do? I smile. How many of you that have children, you're the same way? You know, even if they're grown, at one time or another when they were small, when they were babies and they depended on you for their every need, when your child smiles, don't you smile? But hey, get this, when your child cries, don't you not cry? You're like, what can I do not to make you cry, Nakshan? I don't want you to cry. I mean, you're going through the laundry list of things. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to pat you. I'm going to bounce you around. What am I going to do to not make you cry? You know, at the same time, our Father, the Ab and Shemayim and the dwelling of majesty, doesn't want to see us cry or upset. That's not his agenda. And I think what happened over time is, due to the conditioning of all these religions out here that just leave you hoodwinked and bamboozled, is that we think that God is not sensitive to our needs and our wants and our desires. But at the same time, we have to understand we need to be sensitive to our needs, wants, and desires. And then God is happy. God doesn't want to see any of you sad, by the way. God doesn't want to be angry at any of you, by the way. That's not his agenda. We don't walk around serving an angry bird God. That's just not the case. The creator of the heavens and the universes. The creator that breathes into your nostrils. He doesn't want you to be sad, depressed, all of these negative energies that can take over our lives and subdue us. I hear a lot of people say this. Tada for your responses, by the way. But I hear a lot of people say this as I'm a student. How many of you are students of human nature? You study humans. You study the nature of individuals. I hear people say this all the time. Oh, I'm so depressed. Oh, I'm so sad. And I'm like, wait a minute. Don't say that about yourself. You see? A luxury class says, I love to break it down. Oh, indeed. And it's important that as the people of the books, as the descendants of Abraham, or Abram as we read in this parsha, Abram was promised that his descendants, he was told by the creator of the heavens and the universes, look, you look at the sands. This is the number of your descendants. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. And to this day, can we not hold that true as everybody holds up the beacon of Abraham being their father? Everybody does. Lottie-dottie. Everybody has embraced Abraham. And so be it, because that's what our books tell us they're going to do. They were going to embrace Abraham. And they have. All religions have embraced Abraham in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And so these are things that we have to consider going forward. We have to look at ourselves as truly special people. If you consider yourself special in this room right now, put up a capital S. You say, Rabbi, I'm special. You consider yourself special. I'm not saying, well, Rabbi, that's being high and haughty and mighty. No, it's not. Do you? You say, I am special. Say it. It feels good to say that. I am special. I am special. Remind me of the cereal I used to eat back in the day, Special K. I used to love to eat that cereal. Special K. I am special. I am special. And all of you are, Mishpachah. You truly are. So, my takeaway from Hakoin's lecture was this. And I was instructed, and I did. I instituted the recording of Yah. Say it right now. Yah. Look towards your success direction. How many of you in this room don't know what your success direction is? Mine is southeast. That's my success direction. So I look to I've been doing this week. I look to my success direction, and I say it. I say that first part of the Creator's name. Powerful indeed. Yah. Yah. That's powerful. And I'm telling you, let me tell you what has been happening to me personally when I begin to institute this and put this into action, put this into doing. I noticed, and it's almost like, the best way I can describe it is like now God is in my face. Before, God was distant to me. How many of you had that feeling? Where you felt like just, the source energy, power, God, whatever title you want to give him, is that you thought he was just so far away from you. Like, oh, how do I get close to God? But I'm telling you, when you begin to say this, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, say it a few times, and I'm telling you, I'm not a man that runs off emotions and feelings and all that. But it's almost like you get a connection, and it's like, boom, God is like in your face. A relationship that's up close and personal. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like the call sign, the direct line. When you're in that game, what was that name of that game called where you would phone a friend and try to get help to, win all the money and blah, blah, blah. And you had 3 opportunities. You could phone in a friend, or somebody was there. You can ask him a question, an expert, or blah, blah, blah. I can't remember the name of that game. But they said, okay, I want to phone in a friend who wants to be a millionaire. There you go, to top of that. Who wants to be a millionaire, to top of that luxury class in Eddie's. And so it's almost like the same way. Wherever you want to be, you just pick up that phone and you can call it Yah, and he's in your face. Boom. And he's there. It's like up close and personal relationship. And I know that's what humanity strives for. They search for it in many different avenues and many different, they go through many different hoops to fulfill or fill that void that's within creation, that is within humanity itself. Creator has a place in every one of his creation. I want all of you to understand that. None of you are accidents. None of you are here by chance. It's all ordained. It's all predetermined. Do you all understand that? And it's beautiful when you understand that. It truly is beautiful. The Father don't make accidents. You understand what I mean? So true. Doesn't make accidents. So Hakohi gave me the joke of the day, and so I'm going to give you some quotes of the day that are going to really uplift you, bring and infuse positivity and empower you with positivity. and help you come out of logic, which you all run away from and you have rejected. These are quotes that I'm going to give you today were quite instructional in my 6 days of labor, because I run into a lot of people who don't love themselves and try to find the love and seek love in others. They try to find, let's just say, they try to find confirmation in what other people think. How many of you students of nature know folks like this? It's like they value the opinion of others over the opinion of their own self. You know what I mean? And so they seek out other folks for gratification or for confirmation. It shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. Yeah, you're right, luxury class. Like validation. Like they have to validate through others instead of validating within their own self. You know what I mean? So this is why, here's a beautiful quote. It's very beautiful. Listen to this one. Everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it. Everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it. People come up to me all the time. Do you think I'm beautiful? What does my opinion in this matter have to what kind of say do I have in this? Why are you even asking me that question? And the first thing I always like to say is beauty comes from within, not without, not with validation of somebody else. Do you think I'm beautiful? Beauty comes within. So, and it brings me to another question I would ask him. I would say this. I would say, do you think you're beautiful? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. It's not what I think. You see, you go and ask other people, are you beautiful? Are you beautiful? These people could be blind. And then you ask them, are they beautiful? What are they going to tell you? I can't see you. This is why it's not good to seek validation, accreditation outside of yourself. And another question that I would ask would be this: do you love yourself? You see, because to me, just like this quote, how many of you agree with me? Everything in life is beautiful. Everything. Everything in life is beautiful, Mishpahar. But not everyone sees it. And not everyone has to see it, because guess where the beauty has to start? The beauty has to start within. You have to see it, not everyone. Only one person has to see it, not the every. Are you with me this morning, Mishpahar? This is good stuff. You know why? Because you're going to be able to take away this stuff and go use it and go help somebody out there. Because I guarantee you they're going to come to you and they're going to ask you, am I beautiful? And can I be successful? Do I have worth? They're going to come to you because you're going to attract them, because guess what you are? You're light. And in their darkness, they're going to come to you seeking assistance and validation. Some of you still saying in your affirmations, I am a helper. So guess what? A lot of folks, you're going to attract a lot of folks to you for help. They're going to come to you seeking help. Seeking an opinion. How many of you these past 6 days of labor have given out some kind of advice? How many of you have advised somebody in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion? You've been giving out advice, Baruch Hashem, to doubt your responses, because you're light. You're light to your nation. That's your role. Don't shun that role. Don't shun it, because that's who you are, to die for that luxury class. You all are changing people's lives, and you don't even know it. Because they're going to come to you. You don't have to go to them like the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm not just singling them out, but I see them all the time. Jehovah's Witnesses, they're very aggressive. I mean, they come knocking on your door. We have a big sign in our community that says no solicitation. They don't care about that sign. And I know they can read, because they're trying to give me all kind of literature. They still come to your house knocking on your door. Thank God for the ring. Put the ring on them now. But they come knocking on your door. They're very aggressive. We don't have to be that way. Folks have come to us seeking advice, wanting instruction, wanting to hear some positivity. This is why I love reading these quotes from real life people. Everything has its beauty. Everybody agree with me on that? Everything has its beauty. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. And I like to say that throughout the day. Life is so beautiful. Because people, you know what they focus on? Negativity. Oh, can't pay this bill. Oh, this person's sick. Oh, my my back hurts. You know what? I say life is beautiful. And see, so it puts things back into perspective for some folks because they need that. Because they have no clue about the beauty of life. Them being able to walk, talk, breathe on their own. Not being able to eat and not being fed from a tube in the stomach. Life truly is beautiful, right? You just right now, take a deep breath in and let it out. You realize how beautiful life is? You can breathe, Mishpah. Isn't that beautiful? Do you know how many functions just went on with what you just did to breathe? On a lower level? It's beautiful, isn't it? Life truly is beautiful. So maybe some of you in this room or some of you listening via MP3 right now on YouTube. And you're like, man, I thought I had problems, but now I realize I don't have problems. Hakui gave you a great example of that in his lecture as well. Whereas he was talking about what? Having hot water. Having water on demand from the tap is a blessing. When you take your shower this evening, having hot water on demand is truly a blessing. To die for that luxury class. Luxury class is a witness and a watcher to that fact. Truly, I know, and sometimes we take these little things for granted. Luxury class says, I'm thankful, and indeed give thanks, and give praise to the Creator. Baruch Hashem. Truly give thanks. But sometimes we overlook the obvious, you see. We overlook the obvious. The great miracles that are happening in our lives every day. But we overlook them because it's not a miracle of magnitude. Boy, that'd be a great title of a lecture. A miracle of magnitude. Eddie says, yes, when I grew up, my hot water would run out after 5 minutes. When I had my own place and unlimited hot water, it was awesome. Indeed, life is beautiful, right, Eddie? Life is truly beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yet we focus on all the commentary that holds no weight when you look at the bigger picture. We must stop thinking small so that we can help other folks think big. We're not small thinkers in this room. We're big thinkers. We're big doers. Thus, folks are attracted to you. They're attracted to you because they want big, and you have it. You have the biggest and the best of the best, Mishpah. You're Israel. Baruch Hashem. Everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it. So do you get why that not everyone sees it? Because they're focused on everything that doesn't mean anything. Everything that doesn't mean anything, Mishpah. Now, it's starting to get a little nippy here in San Antonio right now. And I tell you what, a heater is highly appreciated. Central heating is a true blessing. Believe it or not. Full disclosure, I have central heating in my house, and I cannot cut it on. Why? It's because my wife and daughter have the mentality coming from China. They don't have central heating, so they're not used to it. So what did I do? I went and bought some little heaters that they're used to. Little heaters you get at Walmart, right? Your Costco's or your Sam's or your Home Depot. Go get these little space heaters and just put them in the rooms where we're at. Why? Because you know what? I respect my wife and daughter's, thought process right now. But we do have central heating. All I got to do is flip a switch. Boom. Well, it's keypad now. Just activate the keypad. Guess what? Central heating flowing throughout the whole house. But out of respect for my wife and daughter who have a Chinese thought process and mentality, they say, oh, just get a space heater, that'll do fine. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? That's what I'm thinking. But I'm like, no. I'm going to respect them. Just get a little heater and we put it in the rooms where we're at and everybody's happy. No problem. Central unit gets to take a break. But having heat when it's cold as heck outside is a true blessing, isn't it? And we don't realize these things sometimes. But we should give thanks always. Always for everything. And that's all the Father requires of you, is to keep Him in your memory. But most folks, you know what's kept in their memory? That bill that they can't pay, home foreclosure, bankruptcy. That's what they keep in their memory. Bad relationship that happened in the past and just ruined your life. The blame game. You know how it goes down, Mishpahah. I don't need to go down the list, do I? But who should we keep in our memory, especially on Shabbat? Is that you're to remember the God that you serve and be in service to that God. Yah. That's powerful. That's powerful. Truly powerful. And I know majority of you in this room, if not all of you, you understand and know the power of Yah. Yah. Some of you, when you came into the truth, that's the first thing you were saying, right? Oh, God has a name, and His name is Yah. How many remember them days? I remember them days when I first came into the knowledge of the truth, and I realized that God's name was Yah. I was like, wow. So God has a name. I tell you, that was beautiful to me, and it still is. It's even more beautiful today. God has a name, and His name is Yah. And you know, Nakshan, he turned 2 months old yesterday. And I tell you what, I say that name Yah, and Nakshan, he has this look with his beautiful emerald eyes. I tell you, Nakshan's eyes are emerald. I'm like, wow, you have such beautiful eyes, son. But, and I say that name Yah, and it's like, yeah, Nakshan knows this. he knows, he's clued up at 2 months old. He knows this. Yah calms him down, makes him happy, and Nakshan begins to think. He's a thinker. Right now I'm looking at him, he's sleeping in the little bouncer, and he's got a smile on his face. In his sleep. I tell you, fatherhood is awesome. But the power in that name, the beauty of life in itself. Playing with the angels, you're absolutely right. Everything has its beauty, but not everyone sees it. You know what I want to admonish and encourage you all this day is to help everybody else see the beauty of life. Well, how do I do that, Rabbi? You need to go around saying that life is beautiful. When you open your mouth, you know what needs to come out? Life is beautiful. That has nothing to do with God and religion, but it's so powerful. Life is truly beautiful, isn't it? You go around telling somebody that when they get in their little water cooler groups on the job, or they get together and they say, hey, how you doing? Hey, life is beautiful. Another one that I use, and you've heard me say this here before, is another day in paradise. Ooh, you say that. I mean, some people, Paul says it. What did you just say? It's another day in paradise. What do you mean paradise? I'm in hell. And to hell with you. But that's where some people are. Students of human nature. You all know what I'm talking about too. So you have to bring them out of their hell and bring them to paradise by saying what? Another day in paradise. How you doing today? It's just another day in paradise. Just another day in paradise. Life is so beautiful. While they sit there and they give you their laundry list of negativity, you empower them with positivity. Life is beautiful. Like, wait a minute. I just told you all this, that, the other, and the third, and that the world's coming to an end in 20 years. Life is beautiful. Right? Isn't that something else? Now, here's another one for you. Here's another quote, a beautiful quote of positivity that's really going to aid and help you and assist you in your journey. How many of you are on the journey? In your journey. I'm on the journey with you, family. We travel as a family. We're on a journey. Listen to this one. It does not matter how slowly you go, so long as you don't stop. It does not matter how slowly you go, so long as you do not stop. This totally just kills time. Do you hear that? It kills time. Time is of no significance. It doesn't matter how slowly you go, so long as you do not stop. Don't stop. What does that quote entail? A lot. Beautiful quote, by the way. Don't ever give up, Mishpachah. You all have desires. You all have wants. You all have needs. Don't ever give up. Don't stop. Yeah, things may be going slow. Oh, it's slow goes, Rabbi. So what? Time is of no significance to you. So it doesn't matter if it's going slow, right? Take the slow out of your thought process. You understand what I mean? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just don't stop doing what you know you're doing is right. When you know what you're doing is right, just don't stop doing it. Brings me to the next quote. He who learns but does not think is lost. He who thinks but does not learn is in great danger. But I'll add to that. He who learns but does not do, this is what I would consider sin. He who learns but you don't do. Luxury Class said something earlier. He said something about active activity or something 2A. I saw AA there. Active activity or something like that. He said you got to take action. Activity and action or something. He said it was beautiful, beautiful statement. Got to put it into use. Got to do something with it. We're going to talk about that today. My lecture title today is Decision. The Big D. The Big D. And I don't mean Dallas or you up in the Dallas area. But I'm talking about the Big D. D meaning decision. How many of you in this room need to make a decision? Or you have made a decision these past 6 days of labor. Or you need to make a decision. You make it 2 or 3. Yeah, decisions. Life is about decisions. 2 or 3 decisions coming up, Luxury Class says. Decision. Decision. The Big D. Here's another great quote by this one living man that lived on this earth at one time or another. Some of you may have heard this one before. Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Isn't that beautiful? We've said that many times here. I know I have. Is that you have to do what you love and love what you do. If you do what you love and love what you do, I mean, my goodness, and you circulate money for that? That's brilliant. I feel like I don't have a job. See, for me, how many of you believe in retirement? For me, there's no such thing as retirement. I don't know what retirement is. I don't believe in retirement. Because I love what I do and I do what I love. I just don't believe in retirement. To me, there's no such thing. But when you have a job, then you want to retire from that job. You see, my colleagues, a lot of them get in my profession, nursing, for the money. But I don't. I love what I do and I do what I love. And for me, I chose a job that I love, so I never worked a day in my life. And I'm going on 25 plus years as a nurse. Think think about that for a minute. Luxury class is everyone I know who claims to be retired end up continuing doing other things. Indeed, this word retirement is a stumbling block. No rocking chair for them, laugh out loud. Oh, indeed. Is retirement. What is that? You stop doing what you love? No such thing. I can't stop doing what I love. But here's the thing. This is why I always admonish you guys, is to do what you love and love what you do. And then you're not working. Some folks come up to you and say, well, what's your job? What's your job? Where do you work? You know what I tell them? I say, I don't do none of those things. I provide service. I provide service for others. Well, that's not what I provide service for others. I don't work. I don't have a job. I provide service for others. Wow. I help the least in the kingdom. Ooh, that sounds great. I help the least in the kingdom. Wow. That's beautiful, isn't it? But it's true. So I don't have a job. I don't work, Mishpahah. I love what I do, and I do what I love. So to me, it's not even work. I've never worked a day in my life. Even when I was in the military, I love being in the military. I volunteered to go in the military. How many veterans we have in this room? Ex-military. Put up an M if that's you. I wanna honor all of you. And I guarantee you, all of you ones that were you ex-military, did they pull your arm and drag you in chains to go and sign up on this piece of paper and do what you do? And no, they didn't. You volunteered to do that, right? Nobody pulled you by the head and said, come on over here, sign on that line, and serve Uncle Sam. Happy Veterans Day to you, Atara. Do what you do, love what you do, and do what you love. This is the mindset. You see, you got to take, you know what logic is? Logic says that every person needs a job. Logic says that every person needs to work. Are you with me, Mishpahah? But subconscious says you do what you love and you love what you do. When you choose a job you love, you will never work a day in your life. I get that. How many of you get that? I get that. I truly get that. And that resonates with me. So I want to encourage you all to do what you love and love what you do. And you won't work a day in your life. You'll be happy. I'm happy to get up in the morning. Some people, oh man, I got to get up and go to work. That's like the worst thing. That's the worst feeling. It's like a sour taste in their mouth to say that. Not me. I'm like, come on, let's go do it. How am I going to serve the least in the kingdom today? How am I going to be of service? What can I do to help other people? What can I do to make somebody's life better than it was the day before? What can I do to put a smile on somebody's face? You see? This one's for you, luxury class. You're going to like this one. This is the last quote right here. And I'll tell you who this person is, by the way, afterwards. The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions. How many of you in this room want to be the superior man or the superior woman? Anybody in this room want to be superior? Listen to this quote. This will really help you out. The superior man, or I'll say woman for that matter, the superior man is modest in his or her speech, but exceeds in his actions. Wow! What is that telling you? Anybody want to paraphrase that? What's your takeaway from that quote right there? Anybody want to take a shot at it? Anybody want to give their opinion on it? Do more and jabber less. To top of that, Eddie's a great opinion. Yeah, do more and jabber less. I have always been a doer my whole life. Even though a lot of times I was doing the wrong thing, hey, can't knock me for at least doing. How many of you with me on that? Doing is a lot better luxury class than sitting in the rocking chair, correct? At least I'm out doing. At least, even though my doings may be wrong. This is why some of you judge yourself so harshly. And the Father doesn't see you that way, because you know what? The Father said, well, at least he's trying. At least he's doing. I remember when I first began to learn how to cut the lawn. Man, I couldn't cut the lawn for nothing in the world. But you know what? My father gave me mad props and was proud of me, because you know what? I'm at least out there trying to do it. I wanted to surprise him. He come home. He said the lawn was cut. Man, I had it all kind of ways. My manicure was a pedicure. But I was out there trying to manicure the lawn because I wanted to please my father. Yeah, he had to go behind me and correct it, but he was proud of me because at least I got out here. At least I was doing. You see? A lot of things in life we do and we do wrong. But at least we're out there making an attempt. We're doing. We're trying. The superior man, his actions will speak for him, not his words. And I've told you this many times. And this is my life in a nutshell. Yeah, I have a big mouth, but I let my actions go far beyond the big mouth. My actions speak for me. Get me face to face, I'll talk to you in a minute. We'll have good discussions and we'll reason together. But my actions speak for me. And I know that's the same for all of you, family, because that's our family characteristic. That's our makeup. Nothing wrong with talking, but let your walk go 10 miles before you. People will see that. Now, all these quotes, if you didn't know, came from Confucius. Confucius was a Chinese teacher, editor, politician, and philosopher of the spring and autumn period in Chinese history. Confucius. Sometimes you'll open up, you'll go to your favorite Chinese restaurant and you get the fortune cookie and you'll open it up and you'll hear quotes. You'll see quotes in there, read quotes in there in your fortune cookie from Confucius. Great positive quotes that will assist you for positivity in your life to help make you successful. And however you perceive, and however you envision, and however you desire success, because it's going to vary. With everyone in this room, it's going to vary how we see success. Now we'll get into the lecture part of it. We'll look at Abram at the time. His name was Abram at this time in our history. Now, for those of you who have read the parsha, what can you glean from Abram? I'll tell you what. The big D. The big D. The D and the big D meaning decision. Now, how many of you in this parsha, how many of you that read this parsha, which you all know the history of Abram before he became Abraham? How many of you understand, and I asked you all earlier, and to double your responses about those of you who are making decisions, how many of you understand that Abram had to make some big decisions? He had to make some decisions, life changes decisions. And not only that, and you see in this parsha and Lech Lecha, you see in this parsha that Abram made a lot of decisions. Abram was a decision maker. He had to make a decision. Now, there's two sides to the formula of decision. There's the side of making a decision, and there's the side of acting on a decision. This is why the D in the decision is for the doer, or the doing, or the doer. That's what the D stands for in decision. Is that, okay, you make a decision, but then guess what? Then you have to follow through and do the decision. It's a two-step process. All right, let's. I'm not going to read through all of the parsha because we know the history, we know the story. But I want to read some of it from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible because I think it's important to set the stage. Set the stage. Abram had to make some decisions. Not everybody's going to make the decisions that Abram made because these are, let's face it, some tough decisions. When you're told just out of the blue to pack up and move your businesses, move your family, Not everybody's going to do that. It takes a special kind of man to be able to do that. Now, one thing we can say about Abram is that, believe me, he was not led by what? He was not led by logic. Let's look at this in Lech Lecha. Look at Bereshit. Look at Genesis chapter 12, starting at verse 1. Now Yahweh said to Abram, get out of your country, from your native country. Get out of your country, from your native country, and from your Ab's bait, from your Ab's house, to a land that I will show you. And I will make you a strong and mighty nation, and I will make you a benefit to others, and make your name great, and you shall be an increase to all who embrace you. Christians have embraced Abraham. Have they been blessed? Absolutely, they'll tell you they've been blessed. Catholicism, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, have embraced Abraham. They too have been blessed. All who embrace you, you shall be increased, a blessing, an increase to all, a benefit to all who embrace you. Who are embracing you, Mishpah, as descendants of Abraham? Verse 3, I will bless those who come to bless you, and I will curse him who despises you and sees you as worthless. And in all the Mishpahot, the families of the earth, shall be engrafted. And in you, all the Mishpahot, all the families of the earth shall be engrafted. All the families of the earth. Thus we see everybody claiming Abraham. And so be it. So don't get your underoos in a wad because everybody say, oh, Abraham is my father. Abram is their father, as they know it. So Abraham departed as Yahweh had spoken to him, and Lot went with him, and Abram was 75 years old. Wow. Anybody want to look at numerology for a minute? 7 plus 5 equals what? Woo-wee. And what does that number mean? Anybody want to tell me that? So Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Then Abram took Sarah, his wife, and Lot, his son's brother, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the people whom they had acquired in Haran. And they departed to go to the land of Canaan. And so they came to the land of Canaan. And Abram passed through the land to the place of Shem, as far as the terebinth tree of Moreh. And the Canaani were then in the land. Then Yahweh appeared to Abram and said, to your descendants I will give this land. And there he built an altar to Yahweh, who had appeared to him. And he moved from there to the mountain east of Bethel, and he pitched her tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to Yahweh and called on the name of Yahweh. Abram called on the name of Yahweh. What do you think Abram said? Yah. Powerful Mishpah. He called on the name of Yahweh. Yah. You'll call on the name of Yahweh. Now, let me tell you something real quick. Logic will have you thinking, oh, that sounds like chanting, and this stuff sounds, I'd rather just go pray in my old ways and make things happen. Well, remember what I told you. I've been putting this into practice this week, and I tell you what, now I feel like Yah is right in my face. Relationship, baby. Not none of this long distance stuff. Oh God, I pray that you see, all of that stuff is rote. You've been conditioned that that's how you have to pray. So logic will tell you, oh, you don't need to be, chanting that. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Don't let logic get in and destroy you from your success, because that's what will happen. Logic will come in and try to taint you from establishing a closer relationship. You begin to say, Yah. You say that a couple of times. You chant that. There's power in that name. Power. Christians will tell you there's power in the blood of the Lamb. No, there's power in the name. No blood mumbo jumbo here. Blood is only the sealer. Seals the covenants. Sealer of the contracts. That's what blood does. No power in blood, Mishpachah. Family, what are we told about blood? Number one, if you look at our history, we're told not to shed blood, correct? Don't let blood spill on the earth, right? What's another thing we're told about blood? We're not to drink or eat the blood, correct? So, when you look at blood, what power does it have? It has no power. Blood to us, as the family of Jacob, is a sealer. Seals the covenant. Sealer of the contracts. That's what blood does. Baruch Hashem. Now that we have that cleared up. So we see this. So Abram called upon the name of Yahweh. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. And here we go. We begin to see. Look at verse 9 of Genesis, chapter 12. So then we begin to see the pattern that begins to play out. So Abram journeyed, going still toward the south. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Mitzrayim, to Egypt, to dwell there, for the famine was severe in the land. Oh, does that not sound familiar in our history? And we begin to see this pattern. Every time there's a famine, where is rescue at? Seems to be where? In Egypt, correct? Egypt. Egypt. Where Yahweh's name is not great. Where they're serving other gods. This is why you don't knock the countries that you're in. You don't shun, you're sojourners, you're travelers. You're just like Abram. You're traveling. And I know some of you all have to make some great decisions ahead. This is why, the big D. We titled this lecture the big D. It's because, you always having to make a decision to do things or not to do things. To act this way or not to act this way. To move in this direction or not to move in this. It's all about decisions. To take this job or to take this job. What are you basing your decision on? Because believe it or not, all of you are making decisions. You're human beings. You have to process things. Thus you have to decide, what am I going to do? What instruction am I going to use? What direction am I going to follow? You understand what I mean? All of you are going through this process, whether you see it as decision-making processes or not. You're doing it. You're doing your 6 days of labor. You're doing it. You're making decisions. You get up in the morning making a decision. What clothes am I going to wear today? Isn't that a decision? Some decisions are easier than other decisions, but you're making decisions. You make a decision, you decide, okay, this is the route I want to do, and then you just keep doing it, and then you don't stop doing it. Doesn't matter how long it's going to take you to get to the, completion of the decision-making process, but you don't stop making it. You don't stop. You go with your decision. So that means the action part of the decision is the doing. So now you must do. It's time to do. You decided, now you must do. Abram decided, he had to do. He decided, okay, now we have to go to Egypt. You all know the story. He goes into Egypt, what happens? What does he tell his wife Sarah? Oh, Sarah, you find like red wine in the sunshine. You go into Egypt, they're going to kill me because you're so beautiful, just so that, the king can get you. Oh, so Abram, again, had to do what? Make a decision. Then Abram is dealing with Lot, his brother's son. Lot saying, look, let's reason together. We have too much cattle together. We got to split up. It's just too much. Abram gave him Lot the decision. Hey, okay, what land do you want? You take the land. I'll take the seconds. You get first dibs. Decision. Decision making. Now, note that with decisions come consequences. Every decision that you make in life, can anybody give me another synonym for decision? Anybody give me a synonym for decision that you may use? You may not use decision. What's another synonym that for decision? Some folks say choose. Don't you have a choice? Thank you, Eddies. You have to make a choice sometime. What are you going to choose? Christians love to say, as for me and my house, we choose to serve the Lord. That's a choice. You can choose. What's your choice for you this day? What's your choice for you and your family this day? We all have to make choices. And then you stick with your choices. Come Shiloh or Sheol, stick with your choice. See it through. You know where confusion comes in? Is when you choose this, but then you go back on your choice, and then you choose another choice, and then you choose this choice, and then this choice is not good enough to choose, so you choose another choice. And then you all choose out. But think about it. You choose this with this. No, get with your choice, stick with it. Oh, but that choice taking too long. So what? See it through. Don't stop. Do your decision. The big D in doing your decision is the doing part. The big D in decision is doing. Put it to you that way. Yeah, Jan, Shabbat Shalom to you, family. I'm telling you, we all have to do this. So here's the thing. You need to make your decisions based on what? How do you make your choices? Just off a whim? Just what you seen on the infomercial? Just what you heard on YouTube? Just what you heard them say on television? How do you make your decision? Here's where the rubber hits the road. Devar says no sound. Now hopefully I'm still coming in. So, the thing about it is that decisions need to be made based on what? Sound what? Sound advice, sound instruction. Your advice, your instruction needs to be solid as a rock. Someone stated earlier, and I don't know who it was, hopefully they're still in the room, but they said, we use the Torah as our instruction, and we use it as our way of life. Who said that? Somebody made that statement earlier. The Torah is our instructions that we use for our way of life. I may be paraphrasing it, but I remember reading that, and I was like, wow, that's spot on. The Torah gives us instruction on how we use it to live our lives. But here's the thing. I had the Torah. You had the Torah. Yet, how many of you before the Kohen was following the Torah wrong? Torah does give us instruction, but Torah doesn't give us all the instruction. Am I right? Torah gives you instruction up to a point. You want me to give you an example? Torah tells us, instructs us to keep the Shabbat, right? But does Torah give us instruction on how to keep the Shabbat? You see where I'm going with this? So, there has to be the next stage, that the solidification. I want my decision-making processes on how I keep the Shabbat to be as solid as a rock. So where do I go to for that? Well, when I look at our history and I look at our books, who was instructed to teach us on the Torah? Am I to teach myself? I have many friends that are like this. They say, hey, I keep the Shabbat. I was like, well, yeah, who's your teacher? Who's teaching you how to keep? No, I teach myself. How many of you have heard people make statements like that? Oh, I don't need a teacher. I can teach myself the Torah. Anybody ever heard that before? You heard people say, oh, I don't have a teacher. God is my, or they say, oh, God is my teacher. He teaches me the Torah. I keep the Shabbat the way I want to keep the Shabbat. Well, how do you know you do it? You're keeping the Shabbat the right way. You see? But I got to be responsible for what I do. Oh, you don't? You're part of the family of Israel. So when the family has a controversy, what are we told in our book? When there's controversy within the camp, within the family, who do we go to everybody's scratching their head in the tribes. Where do we go to for, for instruction, for guidance, for direction? Who did our family, the Israelites, who did they go to? I mean, if we look at our history, we'll see the Israelites were queued up with questions. There's long queues. Who was answering their questions? You see. So it's all a pattern, and we must stick to that pattern. It's going to help us. So that's what's so very important for all of us to understand. It's so very important. Everybody up and down the block. You can go on YouTube right now and you look at the so-called Hebrew Israelites, Jewish, blah, 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 blah. Everybody would tell you they're an elder. Oh, I'm an elder this, I'm the rabbi this, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. They give you all these titles. Oh, you listen to me, and they all have their little spiel, and they'll go through their little instructions and their little videos, and they'll tell you, oh, this is the way, and this is how I overstand the Torah, and blah, 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 and blah. But at the end of the day, family of Israel, children of Israel, who are we to listen to? I tell you, when I have decisions that need to be made, I look at the instruction that my teacher has given me, the Kohen in the gate. I say, okay, what instruction I've been given? Because that's my foundation. And then if I still kind of wavering on, okay, which direction do I want to go in? Then I'll phone in a friend like we talked about earlier. Phone in the friend. I'll phone a Kohen. I say, okay, Kohen, this is what's going on. I need to make a decision on this. Which direction should I go in? It's going to be beneficial to my life. And then I'll take his advice, and then I have to sit down. I take his instruction, and I have to weigh things out. Say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what would make me happy. And I have to weigh things out. Not with logic, because logic will fail me. If I sit here and logic will just rip to shreds any decision, any productive decision-making process that I have. Because logic ends up leaving me in limbo. And I don't want to be left in limbo. I want precision. I want execution. Expert execution. So that I can make just awesome choices in life. Awesome decisions. You see? Simha, Shabbat Shalom to you in sunny California. So that's what's important to understand. Is that we all going to have to make decisions. Just like Abram. Abram had to make decisions. And we too. We all are going to have to make decisions. How are we going to base our decisions? What's our baseline? If you have trouble with your decision-making processes, you need to shoot the HaKohen an email to help you with your decisions. You can give me a call. Call Rabbi Kefa. I'll help you as much as I can help you. You see, because as much as we say we're a family, why do sometimes we want to put ourselves on an island? Wait a minute, but you say you're a family. Then why are you putting yourself on this island? A lot of family members that can help you with specialties in all different areas that can help you. How many of you understand that two heads are better than one? And then, believe me, when you put a clan or a family, a tribe of heads together, my goodness, there's nothing that you cannot accomplish. Decision-making processes. Abram didn't have that affordability. He didn't have the capability of doing this. This is what makes Abram so special. He was the original. What they call the OG. The original gangster. He was the original father of our way of living. This is why his name will never be forgotten throughout history. Neither will his seed ever be forgotten throughout history. Abram lives on in all of you, in all of us this day. I look at Nakshan, I see Abraham. I look at Nakshan, my 2-month-old, I see Jacob. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Lives on in all of us, Mishpachah. Isn't that beautiful? But that's real. Decision-making process. The D in the decision is for what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Abram, maybe he did some things kind of, half-baked. But you know what? Abram was rewarded for at least trying. His situation with Sarah, my goodness, okay. Yeah, sometimes you got to kind of bend so you can save your life. Right? How many of you understand that? Sometimes you have to bend. You go to the east, and they say you get captured out there in Afghanistan somewhere, in Iraq, and they tell you, oh my goodness. They say, oh my goodness, are you Muslim? And you say, I'm whatever you want me to be. To save your life, you say whatever I need to be to save my life. Then you say, no, I'm not Muslim, but I'll convert to Islam if I need to save my life. Then that's what you need to do to save your life. Then you need to convert. Don't follow that mortar mumbo jumbo. Oh, I died for Christ because I stood up and I didn't blah blah. No, you actually you destroyed your life. Torah at the end of the day is all about the preservation of life. I want you all to understand that. Torah, at the end of the day, is all about the preservation of life. It's the preservation of life. Yajan is saying, share a photo of Nakshan. We would love to see him. That will come in due time. Some have already seen him. I don't know if they're in the room right now, but they'll tell you. Those that have seen him, you watchers and witnesses that have seen pictures of Nakshan, you speak for me. Let the family know how Nakshan looks. I'll tell you, he's the most beautiful baby in the world. My goodness. Looks just like his father. Looks just like his father. And I'm super proud, super happy that I live on. Nakshan will live on through me. Baruch Hashem. I will live on through Nakshan. Baruch Hashem. So I give thanks for that. In due time. But I tell you what, I think it's very, very important that we do understand these things. Sorry, Nakshan. There he goes on cue, my little lion. So I think it's very, very important that we do understand these things, Mishpachah. Very, very important. Is that we all have decisions to make in our life. And I would encourage you all to look at our forefathers. Don't just read our history like a storybook, but dissect our history and look at the scenarios that our forefathers had to go through, like you and I. Abram was a man just like you and I. Just like you and I. Man and woman. Sarah was a woman just like you and I. Yes, they had scenarios and experiences that happened in their life that they had to make decisions on. And at the end of the day, God honored their decisions. God didn't destroy them. Now, someone say, well, Abram lied and said this. No, Sarah was his sister. I mean, think about it. Sarah was his sister. There was no lie. Oh, Abram was deceitful and blah, blah. No, he wasn't. But here's instruction for you that really help you going forward and help us going forward. Sometimes, and I'm going to tell you, the majority of the time, you only need to tell people what they need to know. Only what they need to know. Don't give them all the full story. How many of you understand what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that are against you. The Egyptians had ill intent. Their only desire was to get the woman at the expense of the man. Didn't matter. So this is why you only tell folks what they need to know. You don't tell them everything. Because some folks are against you. You may think they're for you, and you may think it's innocent what you're doing, but at the end of the day, they're against you. So you have to guard yourself against this. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of folks are coming to you looking like sheep, but in wolf's clothing. And their whole agenda is to tear you down and to break you and to make you unsuccessful. All the negativity that they can heap upon you, they'll do it. But they come to you smiling. So this is why you have to guard what you tell folks. Your aspirations, your dreams, your imaginations, that's your imagination. You don't run around telling everybody that stuff. That's for you. It's because a lot of folks want to speak against you. So we must guard ourselves against that. You must guard yourselves against that, Mishpah. Because not everybody that's smiling in your face is your friend. My dad used to have this song he played on 8-track. They smiling in your face. Something like that. I remember that. And I used to listen to the lyrics of that song. It made a lot of sense. Because not everybody that smiles in your face is out for your success and wants you to be successful. They have a whole nother agenda. A whole nother agenda. It's not for that Atari. Is it called The Backstabbers by the OJ? I tell you, my father put that 8-track in there. I hear that song as clear as clear. They're smiling in your face. Oh, yeah. But they're stabbing you in the back. Careful. Be on guard. Light to the world. And that's all of you in this room. Guard your family. Protect your family. You heard Akoi's lecture? Your family comes first, Mishpah. You must at all costs guard your family. So you be very careful about what information you put out. And when you put it out. And how you put it out. Limit the amount of information. Tell a person what they need to know. Who is this woman next to you? Abraham said, oh, that's my sister. To save his life. Oh, that's my sister. And that other sister. To save his life. Because if he said, oh, that's my wife, they're going to kill you, Abram, and then they're going to take her, and blah, blah, blah. But you see, logic creeped in on Abram. Abram was a man just like you and I. Oh, Abram should have been, everybody wanted a Monday morning quarterback. Oh, if I was Abram, I would have just told him the truth, and I would have said, yeah, this is my wife, and what you going to do about it? You can't kill me because I'm a servant of God. I'm doing God's will, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's Monday morning quarterbacking it. But at the end of the day, Abram had to make a decision. That not only to save his life, but the life of his wife. Well, you know, his wife as well. And to continue on living because Abram understood he had a mission. So you only tell people what they need to know. You don't give them the full rundown. Well, yeah, Egyptians, I'm on a mission from God. God made me leave here and go over there. I had to leave my family. I chose to leave my family because I'm listening to the voice of God and blah, blah, blah. They don't want to hear all that. Eddie says, another thing I noticed is that Abraham doesn't tell Sarah to wear head to toe bora, but she remained her beautiful self. Let's just face it. I'm not knocking the women in the West, but I'm telling you, Eastern women. You look at Eastern women and they have a look to them. They don't put on Maybelline, CoverGirl. They just have this natural beauty to them. As I travel, I've seen this. They're just beautiful women. My wife, she's Chinese, and I'm telling you, their skin, I'm telling you, they think my wife is 24. She's just some women in the East. I don't know what it is. DNA, I don't know what it is, but just beautiful, beautiful skin. Don't age. It's just like, my goodness. Just had a baby. She's thin as all get out now. Game tail. Like, you just had a baby 2 months ago. Fukushima. Super thin. But that's women in the East. I don't know. That's just what I see. Not knocking you women in the West. You guys are great. I love all of you. So, when I look at this history, I see exactly, their complexion, just beautiful women, you know. Now, beauty wasn't seen by the tight jeans like we understand it today. You know, you got to have the big butt and the smile. That's what Bib DeBoe said. But they didn't have the, you know, that was all covered up. You're right, Eddie's back in the day. But they would look at the face. And you know how they see beauty in the East? In the eyes. In the eyes. That's some beautiful eyes. Beauty was seen in the eye. In the eye of the beholder, but in their eyes. In their eyes. Because as you know, some places, some of these countries in the East, they covering up everything. And all you see is their eyes. You see these Iranian women? My goodness. All you see is their eyes, but they have some of the most beautiful eyes that you ever see in your life. How many of you have fell in love off somebody's eyes? Come on, man, be real. But here in the West, what we have to look at? We have to look at the big butt and the smile and the breast is big, but in the eyes. To die for your responses. You look at it, oh, you tell a woman, wow, you have beautiful eyes. Oh, you may look at a man and say, oh, you have some beautiful eyes. And you're just in love with them from their eyes. Whilst in the West, we got to look at the anatomy and physiology of the gluteus maximus. How big is it? Oh, you look good in them jeans and, oh my goodness, big breasts. But you see the mindset. So maybe Sarai, again, understanding this, that she was a princess, right? We all know this. She was a princess. So I'm pretty sure she had the best of the best. If they had Maybelline back then, I'm pretty sure she probably had it. She wasn't this old ragtag girl with a burqa thrown on. No. So again, it's how do you perceive beauty? And we all know from our history that our matriarchs were just beautiful women. Period. Beautiful women. Beautiful women. That's just what it is. Luxury Classic says yes, no doubt. The best. And should it be any other kind of way? Luxury Class says, I know my history. Good for you, Luxury Class. I'm happy for you, my brother. Yeah. So, I mean, should we not want the best? Sometimes you got to go very far to get the best, and that's okay. Because distance to me doesn't matter. But I'll tell Nakshan this story when he gets bigger, that your father went across many rivers to find your mother. I went across many, many rivers. That's where I'm going to put it. I went across many, many, many rivers. Oceans, actually, but I'm going to say, hey, your father went across many rivers to find your mother. So in your pursuit of a great relation, sometimes you may have to go across many rivers, and that's okay. Or sometimes it just may be the girl next door, and that's okay. And that's the beauty of it. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to make a decision. My wife is like, well, do you think Nakshan, he should marry a Chinese woman? I said, whatever makes Nakshan happy. That's what's important. What's going to make Nakshan happy? Who's going to make Nakshan happy? How is Nakshan going to be happy? Then that's what's important. And I would admonish you all in the same way. What makes you happy? Do what makes you happy. Do what you love what you do, and it won't be work. It'll just be happiness. You love what you do what you love. You love who you love and you're happy, then you be happy. But my thing is, if you're not happy, then you need to get happy. And you find your happiness, and you make decisions based on happiness, based on peace, based on love, and based on joy. That's how you make your decisions. Are you all with me, Mishpahar? I would encourage you all to do that this day. This is not about religion, mumbo jumbo. This is about reality 101. I can guarantee you, if I ask how many people in this room don't want to be happy, my goodness, nobody would not say they don't want to be happy. And if you don't want to be happy, then so be it. Be how you want to be because you want to be it. Because I do know folks that are not happy being happy. Believe it or not, there are folks like that. There are folks that are just not happy being happy. And you leave them to it. Respectfully. Respectfully, I leave them to it. So these are the things that we have to consider going forward about decision-making problem. The D in the decision is the doing. What are you going to do? What are you doing now? Now, the do is filled in by the priesthood. The sons of Aaron, the two that I know, well, the one that is my teacher, that's where I get my doing from. Well, how am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to do it the way my teacher taught me how to do it. The way my teacher taught me how to do it. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to stop doing it. Well, it may take a long... It doesn't matter because time, you see, logic will begin to tell you, well, you're just doing that chanting. That's not getting on your knees and bowing down before getting prostrate and showing reverence and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to run with my logic. I'm going to do what's right in the sight of God. And what best thing to do than to call out His name? Call upon the name of God. Abram did it. He built an altar and he called upon the name of God. Wow. It's that simple. I don't have to say the rosary and the Hail Mary and blah, blah, blah. I just call upon the name of God. But what is God's name? Wow. Do we not have insider information? Our God's name is Yah. Amongst other names, right? Do you see how much of a step up we have above everybody else? And I don't mean to say that to be braggadocious, but I just mean to say that, to say it this way, is that too much is given, much is required. And those that don't have what is required, we don't run them under the bus. We pray for them and we assist them in however way we can assist them. And we help them. And we encourage them. And we give them positivity. We don't put them down and run them under the bus or judge them. See, like this big thing going on and now that, Kanye West, he's saved now. Oh, hallelujah. Baruch Hashem. He's found God. He's found Jesus. He found the Messiah. Great. Why are people judging? Well, is he really saved? What does that have to do with beings in Colombia? Oh, is he really saved? Oh, is he just joking? Oh, is he the Antichrist? I'm like, what the heck? The man has humbled himself and found God, his God source, however he found it. Be happy for the man. The man has found happiness in his life. Be happy for him. I'm like, what the heck is up? Oh, he's really not saved. He's not born again. He didn't follow these steps. I don't care what. But again, that's Christianity, and that's what they'll do. They'll judge you and they'll hold you accountable to all kind of standards. Because there's not one main standard. Well, did he get baptized this way? Did he do this? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. Let the man be. Let the man live his life and be happy. But no. See, you got to be judgmental. You got to be in the judgment seat. No, you don't. No, you don't. Eddie says, I read an interview and Kanye himself said that he was prepared that his Christian community would be most against him after his change. Yeah. Because that's what they do. They put themselves in the judgment seat. Oh, it wasn't done this way, then it's not correct. Kanye made decisions for himself and for his family. And I say, Baruch Hashem. Now, he made the decision and he's going and he's doing what he needs to do. So be it. All of you. Same way. You're going to make decisions. You're going to make choices. Kanye said he chose God. He chose Jesus. Jesus is his Savior. Baruch Hashem. He just hadn't got to the part yet that Jesus is a Jew. Jesus is Jewish. He's a Jewish man. Jesus followed Moses. He's not there yet. Still running with Christianity, but that's okay. Because you know what? I've been there, done that. I was the same way. Running with Christianity. I used to run around telling everybody, you need to get saved or you're going to hell. How many of you have been there? I used to do that. So I see where Kanye is. He's progressing and he's growing. He's taking steps in the right direction. I would say so. I remember those days, just like they were yesterday. I used to pass out tracts. How many used to do that? On Fridays, we used to go out and we used to get on street corners and pass out tracts and tell everybody, do you believe in Jesus? If you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell. Sir, I don't want you to go to hell. So read this tract. Accept Jesus today as your personal Savior. I mean, don't get out of your car and maybe you get in a car wreck. I mean, I had all kind of, I was putting fear in them to make them go get saved. Say this. It's simple. Say this simple prayer. If you don't, you're going to hell, sir. I don't want you to go to hell. I want you in heaven. Oh, a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Huh? But that's what I knew. That's what I was taught. Thank God that I have progressed from there. And I've humbled myself. Now I understand. I see what Kanye is because I was there. You got this zeal and you want to go tell everybody. That Jesus is Lord and you need to be saved and you need to be born again and you need to get baptized. Don't die because Jesus is coming back soon. Don't die in your sin. Be free of sin and blah, blah, blah. I remember those times. Now Rabbi Kefa has come a long ways. And I give thanks and I'm so humble and happy. I give thanks to the Creator. More importantly, I give thanks to my Kohen in the gate. Because guess what? The son of Aaron had to make some decisions too, didn't he? You all know his testimony. He had to leave his job. He had to leave his first wife for God, to serve God, to serve the God of Israel. He had to make some tough decisions, and we all do. But I don't regret any of my decisions that I've made in my life, any of my choices, because they all made me a better person and gave me great experience on life. And I know all of you are the same way. So don't reject any of the experiences, the choices, and the decisions that you made in your past. Don't do that. Learn from it. See it as just that. Great experience. Chalk it up as great experience and keep it moving. That's what's important. That's what's very important. Decision-making process. Decision after decision after decision. You're going to always be making decisions. But the D in decision is the do. What are you going to do with the decision? Are you just going to sit on it? Oh, well, yeah, Rabbi, I know I need to make a decision, but I'm going to just, meditate on it a little bit more. No, action is key. When you have the decision set, then you just follow through with the doing part. And just do it. And just like that song says, do it till you get it right. Just keep doing it until you get it right, until it's fulfilled. Just like you want it, just like you desire, just like you dreamed it. That's beautiful. And then you'll realize, and you'll be able to say this with conviction, that life is beautiful. Life truly is beautiful. Life is wonderful because you're happy. And you're in that frame of self. Not with logic, because logic wants to keep you unhappy. Logic wants to keep you thinking and thinking some more and thinking on top of the thinking and thinking on top of the thinking on top of the thinking. To where you can never just sit down, take a deep breath and have peace, be happy, be full of joy, and be full of love. Don't have time for that. Because you're too busy going through each of the steps. Oh, well, this happened and this happened and this, and then none of that, and all of that's just irrelevant at the end of the day. And that's how logic keeps you. That's how logic keeps you. And this is why you must just shun logic altogether. And you must stand up and look in your success direction and say, Yah. Say it with me. Yah. And then you'll see, just like I see God in my face. I'm telling you, I see like light present now. That's what I see. Yah. Because listen, when you call Yah, that's what you call it. The light of lights. You're calling that into you. You're calling in light, candle. You're the candle. You're the light. And you're just calling in and empowering yourself with more light. I was watching this documentary on the sun. And how we have this particular satellite that's doing assessments on the sun. And they were saying, the scientists were saying, as you get further away from the sun, the hotter it gets. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So as the satellite is pulling further away from the sun, the hotter it gets. I'm like, wow, you think it would get cooler when it gets further away from the sun. No, it's like you get further away from the sun, the hotter it gets. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Power of the sun. Our star. Isn't that something? The star of earth is the sun. Isn't that beautiful? Look to the sun. I'm telling you, there's a lot to that. There's some greatness to that. There's really great instruction, great revelation to the sun. Why do you think I call Nakshan my son? Why do we call our sons son? Why are you a son? Wow. I'm telling my wife that the other day. She's like, wow, that's I never thought about it that way. So these are things that we need to consider going forward, Mishpahah. You say, you call upon the name of God. That's what our ancestors did. We called upon the name of God. Well, how do you do that? Well, we've just learned how to do that. We're learning. We're in the process of... You see, again, just like our Kohen said, the son of Aaron, descendant of Aaron, just like he said. What did he say? He said, now we're getting into advanced stages. This is advanced stuff here. It's not just getting in your prayer closet, closing the door, and shabba shabba doo, shubba doo, doo, or just sitting in your closet, just meditating and just quiet time. No, this is kicking it up a few notches. You calling upon the name of God. You're calling upon, your ancestors called upon the name of God. So why don't you call upon the name of God? Well, we've been told that we have to do it like this and da 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 da. Well, just like Waterboy said, what Mama said is not always right. That's what Colonel Sanders said. Well, Mama was wrong. That's what Colonel Sanders said. But the Kohen will never lead you astray, children of Israel. If you're Israel, follow the Kohen. You'll never be led astray. You'll never be led astray. You're gonna always be drawn in to God in a closer type way. And this is just another phase. And not many people want to hear this because they want to hear verses, this and that, and dissect it, and they want to hear the Hebrew. But I want to hear from God. I want a closer relationship with Yah. That's what I want more than anything. That makes me happy. And Yah gives me the tools to be happy. So why not call out His name? And then put light in your face. Put bright light. Put light of lights in your face. Isn't that beautiful? So listen, on that note, we're going to wrap it up for the Shabbat. We're going to call it a Shabbat. So you can go spend time with your family members, your friends, and your loved ones, and you can truly think about, meditate on what we've been talking about. And then put into play what we've been talking about. What our Kohen has been talking about. The sound. The speech. You see? Because how are we going to be recognized? The Master Yeshua says, I don't know you. We're told in our books, called by my name. Wow. What does that mean? Called by my name. Abram called upon the name of Yah. There's something to this, isn't it? Believe me, we're going to the next level. That's just what's going on. This is advanced stuff here. And many people don't want advanced. They still want the little goosebumps. Oh, read this verse and do this and break down the Hebrew and blah, blah, blah. No. I want to live a life now, and I want to live that life more abundantly. How many of you with me? I want to live that life right now. Abundance of a life. Life of eternity. Because I am eternity. That's real. I am eternity. That is real. So I'm going to live the life. And family, I want you all to live it with me. Because we're the family of Jacob. And it's been promised to us. And by the way, we're a big family. We're very, very big. A big family that's been dispersed into all the nations. Here's something of note. I thought about this when I was reading this parsha. I thought about this. I was like, when you look at the world as a whole, what population of people is producing the most children? You ever thought about that? I'm going to have to Google that. I was thinking about this last night. I was like, when you look at the whole earth, what are the populations of people that are producing the most children? There's something to that. Think about that for a minute. There's something to that. And I would encourage you all to do some research on that this week. You'll find it very instructional. What population of people are producing the most children? Because Abram was promised that his descendants would be like the sands of the sea. Think about that. Can you count those? So I was like, well, what population of people are producing the most children? What class of people? That's interesting, right? Very interesting. Think about that for a minute in your studies. And then I guarantee you this is where you will find Israel. Because Israel are producing, where you can't stop it. I mean, they're trying, but you can't stop it. I can talk China because I know China. Even China, they tried to stop producing mass production of people, right? They went to that one-child policy. And even they realized, oh, we have to change this quick. You can't stop it. You cannot stop Israel from producing. Because that's been guaranteed to us. That's in our covenant. That's contract. That's word of the Creator. Is that we're to go forth and multiply the earth. You ever thought about that for a minute? Go forth and multiply the earth. This is why I asked the question, well, who's multiplying? Think about that for a minute. Who's multiplying? Even though you may try to stop it, you can't. Who's multiplying? Now China's begging people to have children. But you see, the people got this mindset. I'm talking to my wife. She was telling me yesterday, she was like, I got friends in their 40s. They want to have children. They want to have children, but they can't. Because they got that mindset of, one-child policy. One child, one child, one child. And then, so now a lot of the women in their 40s, they're like, well, they thinking about having children, but that mindset, the logic says, no, children are expensive. Because they've been conditioned this for so long. Only one child, only one child, only one child. You see? But believe me, you can't stop what the words that have already been put into action so many years ago. The powerful words of multiplying. Not dividing. You see, because that's China's policy. They try to divide. That didn't work. Now they're trying to tell them, multiply, multiply as fast as you can. Multiply, multiply, multiply. Multiply. Start having some children. Get your girlfriend pregnant. Just start having some children. Because now they have an older populace with no young people to take care of. You can't fight what the Creator has put into existence. You cannot exterminate. Isn't that something, Mishpahah? Lion King says India. Yeah, you may want to look at India. They probably, I was going to say India too. But probably who's a close second. And I haven't looked at this yet. But I'm looking at Hispanics the Mexican people, ooh, man, they having like 12. They still having like 12 and 13 children now. The Mexicans. Anybody in this room Hispanic? Anybody Hispanic? Put up a capital H if that's you. Do you know exactly? I want to watch and a witness in the room. But I tell you, it's true. I live in Little Mexico down here in San Antonio. And they still having big families. And guess what? These girls, they start having children young. When they 12 and 13, they start having children here. Believe me, it's true. It is true. 12 and 13, they having children here. And they don't stop with one. Becca, am I right? Am I right? Rebecca 12, am I right? I just need a watcher and witness with me here on this. And Hispanics still having big families. They haven't cut down. There's something to that, Mishpah. There's something to that. See, Rebecca is saying, I guess it's for Rebecca. I hope I'm right. But she's saying, yeah. She's like, yeah, that's right, Rabbi. That's right. Big families is important to the Hispanic culture. Something to that. I'm telling you. I was educating some down here as well. Tell them, say, you know, you eat these tortillas, you eat these tacos. Do you know where that really comes from? Where that originates? Your tortilla, your taco? That's manna, baby. Where do you think that come from? And they're like, huh? What are you talking about? So you have the original Jewish bread there. The Indians call it chapati, roti. They call it. Where does bread come from? It has many names. Think about that for a minute. So again, just some, you know, as I love to study human nature, and I'm telling you, Israel, we dispersed to the four corners of the earth. Don't believe we just centralized and this, that, all that YouTube mumbo jumbo. We've been engrafted into all the nations. I'm telling you, you look at my son Nakshan, you look at him and he looks like, I was telling my wife this other day, say, we go to China with Nakshan, they're gonna just think, they're not gonna think he's Chinese at all. You're right, you look at him, he doesn't look Chinese at all. Except sometimes he'll get his mama little slant eyes. Sometimes he'll do that. Otherwise, his eyes wide open like his father. Big ol' eyes. But you don't see. He looks like a brown baby. That's just what he looks like. Brown little boy now. Tell you, got his father's pigmentation. So and he is from the tribe of Judah, just as Jewish as he wants to be. But how you gonna look at him and say, well, you see, again, that's that engrafting. Been engrafted in all the nations. So you just can't single out one person and say, oh, you're not this. How do you know? You don't know. So that's something to look at. And we need to look. We really need to become students of nature, because here's the question, and I'd like somebody to answer this in their own opinion, is why were we dispersed in all these nations? Why? Why was Israel taken and dispersed? What's your opinion on that? Why were we dispersed in all these nations of the world? Anybody want to give your opinion? Anybody want to give your opinion on that? I'm getting ready to close, but what's your opinion on that? Why were we dispersed in all these nations? Why? Why are you where you are right now? Why? Why are you not in Israel right now? Why? Eddie says, remind us that we are like everybody else. Atara says we were disobedient. Disobedience. Yeah, I understand the disobedience side, but why are we dispersed in all these nations? Lion Princess says, ultimately for our protection. Whoa, that's a good opinion. For our protection, right? Atara says to be a light, Why were we put in all these nations? Think about that for a minute. All these beautiful shepherd nations that we're in, these great and mighty nations that are doing great and mighty things. Why are we in these nations? Maybe I ought to leave y'all with that question. And then we'll follow this up on next Shabbat. Because I don't think there's a wrong answer. But I would encourage you all to look more positive than negative. What's the positives of being in these nations? Think about that for a minute. Think about it for a minute. let's get off the chastisement side, and let's look at the other side of the because remember, Israel is blessed. We're blessed people, right? Are we not a blessed people? We're blessed. So why put us in these nations? Think about that for a minute. So that's the question I'm going to leave us with this Shabbat, and we'll follow up on this next Shabbat. I'm going to leave a little note to make sure that I remind myself to ask this question next Shabbat, so we can go further into detail, because this is not just some superficial thing. This thing goes deep like an onion, cuts many layers we can get into. It's good stuff, Mishpah, as we think about it. So on that note, we'll wrap it up for this Shabbat. And I'll say I love and I'll leave you all in the mighty hands of the Master Yahweh. And go out and be happy, full of joy, full of peace, full of love. Make many memories. Okay. Now Sean is telling me it's diaper change time. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpah. Okay, Shabbat Shalom to all of you, Mishpah. And we'll wrap it up on this note, okay? You all have a wonderful Shabbat. And remember, you all are making decisions. Whether you see them, you're making choices in your life. You're making choices. Make those choices and then go out and stick with your choice and go out and do. Go out and do the D part of the decision, which is to do. Go out and do. Do. Don't give up. Don't second guess. Don't let your logic come in and change your choice. Stick with it. But make a choice based on sound decision. Okay, now Sean, I'm a little lying. Okay, Shabbat Shalom to you and Shalom Shalom to you around the world. Okay, take care.